Welcome back to the 2018 Arnold Sports Festival, where we were celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Arnold Classic. This episode we have 6-time Miss Olympia champion Cory Everson, which is real bodybuilding royalty, folks. So I may be a little bit awe on this one. And Dr. Pawan Grover from STEM Wave. So
Yes.
This is going to be a bit of fun and a bit educational for all of us. So first of all, Cory, 6-time Miss Olympia.
Yes.
How did you get into the sport, and how did you become the best in the world for one of the all-time greats?
I was a track athlete in college. I was a Big Ten pentathlon champion in track and field.
Okay, Big Ten. So we got to stop there. Where did you go to school?
University of Wisconsin-Madison.
A Badger. Okay, a Badger. Excellent. Were you from Wisconsin?
I'm from Chicago, but I had a scholarship to Madison, Wisconsin. And
so the Big Ten heptathlon champion.
Heptathlon, yes.
And tell me and everybody else what's all in the heptathlon.
Well, it's actually the pentathlon.
Oh, pentathlon. I'm sorry.
High jump, shot put, long jump, half mile, and hurdles. And I did that.
Wow. Do they still do that?
No, they switched it to the heptathlon.
Okay.
So I love that, and I was a 4-time Big Ten pentathlon champion. And then my senior year in college, I met a guy from the weight room, and he said,
always a guy involved.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's exactly. I know where this is headed.
Yeah, and he goes, you should compete in bodybuilding. Your body's already kind of like the bodybuilders. And it was like Carla Dunlap competing at that time, and Rachel and Candy Casentis. And so I said, I think I could do that. And so I competed in like 2 weeks and won it, and then continued to compete, won 6 Miss Olympias, and then
She just says that so casually.
Exactly.
It
Just continue
It
to
was
compete.
so much fun. It was so, I still think I love the sport. I love how it makes you aware of fitness and your health. And we all get injuries. I'm a baby boomer now,
So how long from your first competition until you won the Olympia? We're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years? I mean,
yeah, probably not even. Like maybe not
even.
Just like 2. I won the Americans, and then I got invited to the Miss Olympia. And then, the sad thing is I was only able to compete in 6 contests in 6 years.
So sad.
Because you can't compete down if you're a Miss Olympia. You can't compete in something
that's the
lesser.
only show you were able to do during that time? So 1989, you retired from the sport then?
I did, and I did a TV show then for a number of years. I did 2 shows. One was ESPN. I did body shaping, and then I did Got a Sweat on ESPN too. And I quit doing that in like the year 2000. Then I went to Russia, and I adopted my children from orphanages.
Tell us about that. How many kids did you adopt?
I adopted 2.
Wow.
My son was 4, and my daughter was 6. And it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow. How old are the kids now?
They're 20.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing. It's the best thing I've ever done.
What do they think about when now they look back at your pictures when you were Miss Olympia?
They're funny because like my son will always go, I do a lot of stuff at the school, and they're like, oh no, my mom doesn't need any help. She's stronger than your dad.
That's stronger than your dad.
Yeah, they're really proud. They really.
So how
are.
fun is it to come back to a place like the Arnold Sports Festival and the Classic and back into your environment?
This is my home, and it's like I always say, I have to come every year because these are my people. This is my home, and I see the people who I grew up with here, in the sport, and it's seriously their family. Like I swear, I was in bodybuilding because it's pertinent to me, but I think I was in during the best time ever because we're all still friends. We were friends when we competed. If somebody's car broke down, Lee Haney would come pick me up. It was like nobody had an excuse. We all loved each other, and it was a different time, I think.
So it's a great year to be here since we are celebrating our 30th year. So a lot of familiar faces are back.
Yes.
But I know your appearance here would not be possible without STEM Wave.
Yes.
Tell me how you got involved with them and why you're proud of that involvement and how that affects you.
When I quit bodybuilding in 1989, it was because I had chronic back pain. I would have continued to compete if I didn't have this issue. So I was introduced to the company, and I really did some research on it because I'm afraid of surgery, and I will not take pain meds. I don't like anything foreign in my body. And so when I was doing research on it, I really loved certain aspects about it, that it's not invasive, it's not cutting your body open, and it's not having to get hooked on opiates, which I see a lot of my fellow friends that have had addiction to pain medicine
Yeah.
because they've done some damage to their bodies, or they're a baby boomer and aging, and they're like me, and you have aches and pains. So when I was introduced to the company, I was absolutely interested in what they were preaching because a lot of it was exactly that. And so I met Dr. Grover, and he can explain a little bit
Yeah,
more.
Dr.
about
Grover,
the
put this
company.
into layman's terms for us. We're talking about a alternative to opiates, a pain treatment. I don't want to say pain medication, but a pain treatment. So what are we talking about?
So Brent, part of how pain is treated, right, after a lot of people are put on pain medications, so we know there's a lot of addiction issues, and actually it's not fixing the problem. After a certain amount of time, you need higher and higher doses, right? Surgery is sometimes needed, but a lot of times we operate too much, right? In this case, you'll see people do a fusion that changes the anatomy, causes weakness above and below, so people need more surgery. So what this does, if you can just bring that little piece over here, no, the other one. Oh, you just dropped it. It's a little wire.
Oh,
Okay,
a little
it's
wire.
kind of like
It's
like
a
getting an ear
thread.
piercing, right? It's a little
Yeah.
thread.
Okay.
So what we do is we place it. It depends on where the pain is, and what this does is connected wirelessly to a little generator, and it uses.
There you go. Sorry about
so
that.
this is actually the whole implant, right?
That's
That's it.
Is that
right?
amazing? And it's even smaller than that
Yes.
in different
Yeah.
areas.
And so this basically goes, let's say, for example, if you're taking care of your shoulder, we'll put it underneath the skin there. This is powered through you can use it like your iPhone or even an Apple Watch or an Android phone. So what it does, it blocks the pain coming from the damaged areas. Also will increase circulation and boost up your endomorphins. So actually fixes and stops the pain so that you can recover and exercise. I think for you would have had 5 more years.
Yep.
If
Those
not
girls
for the
out
pain
there
issues.
would have been.
They would have been in trouble.
That would have been in trouble. But is that amazing that technology nowadays, this
Yes.
can replace a major surgery? And sometimes, like, I know so many people have had.
And there's an app for it. So
There's an app for
and
it.
it's
There's
on-
an app for
and it's on
everything.
your,
Yeah.
But I mean, so many people have had surgery, and you see them, and they're debilitated. I mean, they can't even. They're still in pain.
So
You
part of
know?
right now we operate too much, to be honest with you, right? When people go through multiple operations, you get scar tissue, and then or you go on opiates. So this is kind of a revolutionary thing that can change the game in terms of people dealing with chronic pain.
So obviously a huge market for this.
Yes.
Everybody has. I mean, the market for the people who have pain is endless.
Yeah.
Why the Arnold Sports Festival? Why the health and fitness industry for
So
the product?
part of what you're doing when you're trying to, people don't realize that when you have chronic pain, especially with athletes, it affects their whole game. We take care of a lot of Olympic athletes and things like that. One little pain will throw off their whole game, right?
Yep.
And so this is actually part of helping the body heal itself, right? And for athletes, it's a very small device that doesn't show up, but you're actually fixing the problem so that patients can regenerate and help themselves. A lot of times medications, they're thrown to mask the pain or, right? They're not really
they treat
treating the
symptoms,
source.
not the source, yeah.
Right.
And also, what I like about it, it's like invisible. Like I'm vain. I don't want to have back surgery and have my back slit open. I've had shoulder surgery, but it was by a scope.
Yep.
But I don't want it to have a big scar. And so this is, it's like putting an earring in your ear. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like I'm blown away, and I can't wrap my brain
control
around it.
Right? You
And
control it with
control
your
it.
phone or your Apple Watch. You
So
can
Stimwave's
increase it,
been around
decrease
for like 60 years, right? It's been
No, so this
but
technology
the
has
technology
been
is
around.
what's new, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so we've been putting in, or I've been putting in simulators for over 20 years. But I'm just amazed at how far the technology. So this is revolutionary in terms of the technology of the stimulation.
And it can be in your back or your
can be
shoulder
legs,
or your
shoulder.
hip. The young girl that was here had hip surgery, and she can't get rid of the pain. And the surgery went perfectly, but now she's got massive pain. And so he's going to be implanting this in her hip, and it just blocks the pain so that your body can finally heal itself.
So actually what happens is the spine rewires itself, right? And so if you have chronic pain, it's horrible. I mean, patients experience depression, they can't exercise, they lose their job. So that is a huge disease in itself. So we can't just tough it out with the pain because it's very
Isn't
devastating.
that amazing? And then there's no downtime. Like if you do surgery, if it's chronic
months,
pain,
yeah.
it's months, and it may not even heal the problem.
How new is this is the technology, and what's next? I mean,
Well, this technology, this particular revolutionary change. It's been for a few years,
Yep.
right? And in addition to the technology and the wireless nature of it,
Yep.
there's a lot more things that you can do because it's being charged wirelessly. So like I said, there's programs that will increase your blood flow through
For
your
like-
legs or
for
your
like
back. We use it in
diabetics.
diabetics that have poor circulation. It'll actually increase your serotonin and help with depression and anxiety and mood. So I think the revolutionary parts, I think, has been happening over the last few years with
He's
this
used
technology.
it in people that have migraines that
Yes.
can't have any relief from migraines.
So Cory, you've lost your excuse because we just missed you with our event here.
Yes.
Kind of you retired about the same time we founded the Classic in '89. So I know some folks would love to see you.
Oh my!
back
You know
on
what?
the
I
stage.
guest posed in Arnold's very first Arnold Classic.
You guest posed here in '89.
I guest
You
posed
posed.
here in '89 in its very first Arnold Classic.
Well,
And-
I probably can make a phone call and we can kind of come full circle tonight at the show.
oh
so.
my gosh! And I had a broken foot,
Yeah.
and I had like my foot taped up. But I remember where it started and where it is now,
Yeah.
and it's just phenomenal. And it's like what we learn here goes out to the general public. Like people think it's bodybuilding. It's not. This is what the general public eats: the protein bars and the protein and the drinks
Mm-hmm.
and the healthy things. It's the bodybuilders is a small part of it, but all the good nutrition and the good eating habits and stuff starts from
You know,
that.
as a doctor, like I said, I'm fascinated with fitness because a lot of times we just medicate too much.
Yep.
So with the bodybuilding lifestyle, you're actually fixing it before problems can happen. So
Preventive,
that's why
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
fascinated with what nutrition, exercise can do that medicine can't.
So Cory, you're still a fan of the sport, I assume?
Yes.
And what's it been like to watch? When you started, it was just bodybuilding.
Yes.
And now we have fitness and figure.
It's
and,
unbelievable.
And
It's
we've
actually
transitioned a
kinda
lot to women's
confusing.
physique, and it's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, like I wonder if I came back and competed, which I'm not going to, but if I did, where would I compete in? Because there's no
Yeah.
bodybuilding anymore.
Yeah, you would compete in women's physique.
Okay.
And what you were in the mid '80s
Yes.
is what women's physique is now.
Right.
It's almost a complete 100% comparable
Right,
alternative.
right.
As you know, the women kind of went up.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe went up too far.
Yep.
And instead of trying to change the rules of women's bodybuilding,
Right.
they just created the new division, women's
Right.
physique, which is
Right.
what women's bodybuilding started out as
Right.
25, 30 years
But
ago.
I think that the rules, and this is my opinion,
Sure. That's-
I think the rules have always been symmetry and proportion
Yes.
first, then muscle tone and definition,
Yes.
and then perform your presentation. And
That has always been the rules, but
Right.
I think the judges always rewarded mass.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't turn back
yeah,
eventually.
I understand that
yeah.
because it's hard if you've got a.
But you're right. The rules have always
yeah.
been the same.
I think so. I think the rules are the same.
And on the men's side, it's really hard. The stars of the sport are always going to be the big guys.
Yeah.
The Cedric McMillan and the Dexter Jackson, the Dennis Wolfs, all those
Yeah.
type of guys who are competing this weekend. But from the classic physique,
Yes.
new division, and the men's physique,
Yes.
it's great to see more people on stage.
Yes.
It's great to see how popular
Yes.
the sport's becoming, and
Yes.
we want people on stage, whether it's bikini or
Yes.
fitness or figure or
Yes.
whatever the case may be.
Because then there's a flavor for each person
Yes.
who wants to
But,
compete.
it's
we-
very
we-
inspiring, Brett. Just as a doctor, my patients can they get into fitness. I mean, even just walking around, I feel I need to do some more push-ups or something. But it's
Yeah.
fascinating just watching people what they can do with their body. It's so inspiring.
Yes.
And
That
fitness
you can
means
change your life.
Fitness means so many different things to so many people.
Yes.
Right.
Just walking,
Yes.
Yeah.
just doing some light cardio, just getting out there and being
Yeah.
active, whether it's martial arts or fencing or
Yes.
pickleball or going to the
Yes.
gym 4 times a week just to
Yes.
tone up a little
Yes.
bit.
And you can stop seeing doctors like me.
That's
Right.
actually where
Right.
I'm at now. Like I walk and I garden and I do core training and I do weights 3 days a week, but I don't do the kind of weights I did before.
Sure.
I can get in and out of the gym in 30 minutes,
Yes.
but it's enough for me, and it keeps it's like amazing. The thing that is amazing to me is muscle memory. Like if I just lift a little bit, I'm like, ooh, I look pretty good. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's like muscle memory. Once you've gotten to that point of having a really toned physique with good muscle, not even big muscle, but just quality muscle, it comes back like that. And I think as we age, that's really important.
It is. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
A tremendous honor.
Thank you.
This industry and this sport would not be what it was without
Oh my gosh.
those who competed in the 70s and 80s,
Oh my
you and
gosh.
Rachel, and
Thank
all that
you.
sort of
Thank
thing.
you.
It really was the golden era.
Oh my,
So-
it was. I'm going to think that.
So, and Dr.
Thank you,
Glover,
Brett.
thank
Nice
you
to
very
meet
much.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
explaining
you.
all that. It's
Well, thank
tremendous
you.
technology.
Thank you, Brett.
Cutting edge.
It is.
And thank you for your support of the Arnold Sports Festival and coming here to introduce it.
Yes, thank you.
And that's an honor for us to have you here. And the support of sponsors like you guys is what makes us successful. So,
It's
thank you
awesome.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Brett.
And thank you again for joining us on the ASF Power Podcast. As always, check us out online at arnoldsportsfestival.com, and please follow our YouTube page at Arnold Sports Festival. Thank you, and see you again soon.